Look, I get why you people want to call School Days the worst anime ever, but is it really? First off, I completely agree that Makoto's a horrible person, though I'm not going to say he deserved his death, because I tend to value life. Let's talk about the otaku community's reaction. People taking the show at face value saw a downward spiral of betrayal topped off by an atrocious murder and declared it horrible. Others who tried to look deeper decided this must be a representation of how a harem genre anime would realistically play out, which is fair. Real women tend to get angry when lied to varying degrees, some to the point they decide the best solution is stab, stab, stab. Others still see this realism theory and asks, how can this be? All the characters are stereotypes, tropes that have long since been worn down to pieces, da 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 da. For me, personally, the idea of any realism here went over my head because, realistically speaking, at least one of these idiots might have had something along the lines of parents to discuss the matter with instead of doing what they did. I believe the true worth of School Days lies in its two murder scenes. Bear in mind, it usually takes more than blood to entertain me, that's why I didn't like Elfin Lied, but Makoto's death was artistically done. The eerie silence and a final warning to the viewer, a simple trap to have Makoto turn his back, and yet she could say goodbye at the same time. The song that proceeded to play was fitting and perfect because it did not have the energy of a horrific murder scene, but the sadness for the tragedy that was taking place. Memories of happier times flashing by between stabs, the sadness on her face knowing she was killing someone she once cared for, and the tears in Makoto's eyes from the pain and knowing why this was happening. His last word was Sakai's name. What did he want to say to her, I wonder? We'll never know. And at last, we see his eyes again, emphasizing to the viewer he is gone. Part of its quality was the moral choice given to the viewer. Feel bad, a life is lost, or feel glad, little dirtbag had it coming. Most viewers will be conflicted over this, but let's move on to the death of Sakai, which was handled almost as well. My first thought was, you'd think receiving a text from the person you just murdered telling you to meet the sender would make her run in the opposite direction, but I can forgive this since Sakai intended to kill Kotonoha with the same knife she took out Makoto with. Sakai's murder was simpler. They talk, Sakai is disoriented by the sight of Makoto's severed head in a bag, she dies. Whether we like or dislike her, we feel something toward her, making her death more real to the viewer. You see, Lucy, this is how a murder is supposed to take place, not by throwing body parts everywhere like you're trying to be a janitor's nightmare. Quality over quantity. I believe it was these murder scenes that gave the show its purpose because it certainly was not the rest of the episodes. This episode was probably to reflect the visual novel game it's based on, which I still can't find an English patch for, but what did it accomplish by doing so? I've rewatched this episode several times now, and it gets rather Shakespeare on us. It produces many morals to the story, and it leaves some questions that are interesting to contemplate. I can't decide if the series is good because of the last episode, or if the series is bad because it had episodes 1 through 11, which I only watched because I was promised yanderes. Before I close the topic, I have one last note on the matter. The 12th episode asked a question. What is a happy end? I hear most of you already, not this one, and I partially agree with you. It wasn't a happy end for Makoto or Sakai, but then there's this little cutie. She has her boyfriend all to herself now, and she feels like she earned it because she was patient with him, though that's up for debate if that was the right thing to do. He'll never cheat on her again. He'll never leave her side again. What more could she want? Though he is going to start to smell after a while.